Good morning students. In today's class we will study about another important topic known as Rivert-Popper hypothesis from this chapter Biodiversity and Conservation. In our previous session we have seen what is biodiversity and why biodiversity is important in an ecosystem. Okay, in today's class, in order to explain the importance of biodiversity for the existence of species, we will discuss about a hypothesis which is known as Rivert-Popper hypothesis. Okay, what is a rivet? Rivet is actually a bolt which will connect two metal plates. Okay, now what is popper? Popper means somebody who is just removing something or popping something from a particular object. Okay, now this hypothesis was proposed by a person known as Paul Ehrlich. Okay, this person known as Paul Ehrlich proposed this hypothesis known as Rivert-Popper hypothesis. He wanted to explain the importance of every species in an ecosystem, or he wanted to explain in other terms how biodiversity is very important, okay, for the existence of species. If only one particular species is existing in an ecosystem, then that ecosystem will not be a successful ecosystem. In order for an ecosystem to be a successful one, there should be species diversity. There should be multiple species living together. Okay, in order to explain this, how biodiversity is important, okay, and how individual species contribute towards a successful ecosystem, he proposed this hypothesis. In his hypothesis, he took an example of an aeroplane or an airplane. Okay, he took an example of airplane and he compared the aeroplane with an ecosystem. Okay, he compared the aeroplane with an ecosystem. Okay, in order to build an aeroplane, we need several metals, right? We need several items. One important item is the rivet. Okay, rivet I have already told you. Rivet is a kind of bolt which will connect two objects. Okay, we need rivets in order to construct the whole aeroplane. Okay, we need multiple rivets. To be clear, we need multiple rivets in order to build an aeroplane, because wherever we are joining two objects in order to fix the seats, in order to fix the wings to the aeroplane, in order to fix any kind of the infrastructure inside the aeroplane, rivets or the bolts are very, very important. Okay, so without rivets, aeroplane cannot be constructed successfully. So similar way, in an ecosystem is backed up by species, varieties of species. Okay, how rivets form an aeroplane, similar way species forms the ecosystem. How rivets are important in an aeroplane, because it joins the whole aeroplane. Similar way, species are a very important part, are the very important parts of an ecosystem. Now imagine a passenger is traveling in an aeroplane. Passenger 1 is, he is trying to remove or pop a rivet from the aeroplane, and he takes that particular rivet to his home. Then what happens? That part of the aeroplane from which he has removed or popped the rivet will become weak. For example, a person is sitting in his seat in an aeroplane. He finds a rivet in the in the seat which is located just in front of him, and he finds a rivet. He will remove the rivet from there. He will take that rivet home. Then what happens? That particular seat from which the rivet has been removed will become weak, right? It will become weak or unstable. Similar way, the ecosystem is made up of several species. If we human beings or any animals are exploiting the nature and the species are being removed from the ecosystem, when I say the term removed, it is indicating extinction. Okay, by any chance, due to human activity or due to any animal activity, if a particular species is completely being removed from an ecosystem, that is equal to a rivet being removed from an aeroplane. Now imagine passenger 1 means it could be a human being or it could be an animal who will who will cause danger to the species, and the species 1 becomes extinct, or the species 1 is removed from the ecosystem due to over exploitation or due to parasitism or predation. If the species 1 is being removed from the ecosystem, then ecosystem becomes little weaker, okay, than the actual ecosystem. Then imagine in an aeroplane a passenger 2 is coming and he is popping one more rivet, okay, one more rivet from the aeroplane, and he takes that rivet back home. Okay, he will take it home. Then again what happens? The aeroplane becomes little more weaker. Okay, similar way, if species 2 is being removed from the ecosystem due to various activity, that means it is being removed means it is going to become extinct, then ecosystem will become still more weaker. Similar way, every passenger coming to this aeroplane starts popping one rivets from the aeroplane, then ultimately the aeroplane will become dangerously weak. That means any time the aeroplane can crash, okay, it can get damaged. Similar way, if species 3, species 4, species 5, species 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, eventually if all the species are removed by one by one from an ecosystem, then that ecosystem becomes dangerously weak. Okay, the whole ecosystem will be destroyed. Okay, so rivet popper means if you pop or if you remove one rivets or one bolt from the aeroplane, how the aeroplane will become very dangerously weak. Similar way, if species are being removed one by one from an ecosystem, then that ecosystem will also become dangerously weak. Okay, so the diversity of species or species diversity is very important in an ecosystem. That's what we refer as biodiversity. Variety of living organisms make a successful ecosystem. Okay, now here in this concept also, imagine here I explained that the first passenger who is coming, he is just popping a rivet from the chair or the seat, right? The rivet which is present on the seat. Now that particular rivet does not play a very important role in the safety of aeroplane. Okay, even though the rivet from the seat are removed, if the rivets from the seats are removed, still the aeroplane is in a safer condition. However, if a passenger comes, he directly removes a rivet from the wings of the aeroplane, then that is going to be really a threat to the aeroplane. So that particular rivet is a very, very important rivet for the aeroplane. Okay, the rivet which is present in the wings, because even if a single rivet is removed, then the whole aeroplane is going to crash. Similar way, in an ecosystem also, there will be some species which act as key species. Okay, there would be certain species who will act as key species. That means the removal of these key species or any one key species will damage the entire ecosystem, will completely destructs the whole ecosystem. Such species are known as key species. Okay, and this is the Rivet-Popper hypothesis explained by Paul Ehrlich. Okay, next we will move on to the topic loss of biodiversity. Okay, biodiversity is being lost. We know that from past few centuries, we have been losing a lot of biodiversity from Earth, right? So, why this biodiversity is being lost? What are the reasons? There are three important reasons for the loss of biodiversity. The first one is overpopulation. Okay, overpopulation. The population is increasing more and more, so the human beings are exploiting the nature or misusing the nature more and more, so biodiversity is being lost. The second one is urbanization. Okay, urbanization means the urban places or the city areas are increasing, whereas the rural or the village areas are decreasing. Okay, people are making the village area into the city area. They are converting the farmland into maybe a residential area, or for the construction of various buildings, or the construction of various different buildings like hospitals, like schools. Okay, they convert the rural area, they modify the rural area into urban area or the city area. Okay, so this is affecting a lot of vegetation, which ultimately results in the loss of biodiversity. Next reason is industrialization. Industrialization means the construction of more and more industries. Okay, when there are construction of more and more industries, the pollution increases. For the construction of industries, the biodiversity is being cut, the plants are being cut, the grasslands are being cut, the pond ecosystems are being destructed, where they will fill the pond with the mud, with the soil, and they will just do the land filling. Okay, and such type of phenomenon or such type of behavior leads to loss of biodiversity. Overpopulation, urbanization and industrialization. Now, if we look into the actual data of how the biodiversity is being lost, it's clear that there are 15,500 species which have been completely extincted from the earth. Okay, which have been extincted, that means they have left already, they have left the earth. Okay, there are 15,500 species who have become extinct, who are extincted from your earth's surface due to various reasons. Now, if we talk about a particular number, then there are almost 31% of gymnosperms, there are 32% of amphibians, 12% of birds, and 23% of mammals who have been already extincted. Okay, 15,500 species have been extincted. Okay, that means they are completely gone from the earth. Okay, they were existing before, but now they are not present. Okay, 31% gymnosperms, 32% amphibians, 12% birds, 23% mammals are the accurate number of living organisms. Those have been extincted. Okay, this includes only the number of animals. There are several species of plants which also have become extinct. Okay, now if we talk about IUCN data, okay, in our previous class we have discussed that IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Actually, IUCN, they prepare a list known as Red, in a book known as Red Book. Okay, IUCN prepares a list of organisms who are in the phase of extinction, and they will be written in the book known as Red Book. Actually, Red Book carries the data of the organisms who have been already extinct, who are already gone from the surface of Earth. Okay, now according to the data given by IUCN in the year 2004, there were already almost 784 species who are already extincted. Okay, who are already extinct, who are already gone from the earth. Okay, according to this data, this is what is given in your syllabus. According to the data of 2004, there were already 784 species who have become extinct. Okay, now I have the data of 2019. According to this data, there are 905 species who have become extinct. Okay, the 905 species have become extinct according to the data of 2019. And all the species who have become extinct, their names are given in the book known as Red Book. Okay, this book is actually presented by IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Let's talk about few animals who have become extinct and whose name are present in the Red Book of IUCN. Students, in today's class we will talk about IUCN Red List. Okay, yesterday we spoke about what is IUCN, International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. Okay, they have formed a book known as Red Book. Okay, and in that they have added certain organisms who have who have been extinct. Okay, and they call the list as Red List. Okay, there are certain organisms who have been added under this Red List. We have already spoke about this data. According to the 2004 Red List data, there were 784 species in the Red List. Okay, that means the organisms who have become extinct. 784 species have become extinct according to the data of 2004. However, the data of IUCN as of 2019 shows that there are 905 species who have become extinct. So you can see the difference. Within the span of 15 years, there are so many species who became extinct. Okay, the extinction is happening at a higher rate. Now we will have to study about certain organisms who whose names are present in the IUCN Red List. Okay, the first organism we will talk about is dodo. Okay, this organism belongs to Mauritius. Okay, dodo is a flightless bird. That means a bird which cannot fly. Okay, due to over exploitation, this dodo has become extinct in Mauritius. The second is quagga. Okay, this organism belongs to This organism belongs to Africa. Okay, and quagga is nothing but it is a subspecies of zebra who has a native in Africa. Okay, even they became extinct due to over exploitation by human beings. Then the next organism is thylacine. Okay, their native is Australia. Okay, they are carnivorous mammals. Okay, and they appear like a wolf or dog. Okay, and they belong to Australia. Their species also became extinct. Okay, the next is the Steller's sea cow. Okay, this belongs to Russia. Okay, this is again a aquatic organism. The name itself indicates it's a sea cow. It belongs to Russia, and this organism also became extinct due to anthropogenic or man-made activities. The next is 3 subspecies of tiger, okay, belonging to Bali, Java and Caspian. Okay, so these are the there are 3 subspecies of tiger. One subspecies belonging to Bali, Indonesia, Java, again Indonesia, they are islands present in Indonesia, Caspian, it is a part of Turkey. Okay, so these organisms, these 5 organisms are the examples of the organisms or the species which became extinct according to IUCN Red List. Okay, now there are a few more. As you all know, there are 905 species which are present in the IUCN Red List according to the 2019 data. Okay, so this is all about IUCN Red List. Let's move on to the next topic, which is the mass extinction. Mass extinction means all the organisms present on earth become extinct together. All the species, all the organisms are gone forever at a particular time. That is known as mass extinction. Now imagine, in present earth there are, almost we spoke about, there are 1.50 million species. Imagine all the species become extinct or they are gone from the earth's surface at a time. Okay, so that is known as mass extinction. Okay, now till now there have been 5 episodes of mass extinction. Okay, till now the earth has seen 5 episodes of mass extinction. That means 5 times this type of mass extinction has happened. Okay, now we are going through the 6th episode of mass extinction. Now presently we are going through the 6th episode of mass extinction. That means in upcoming years all the organisms which are present in today's earth will also become extinct. They will be extincted. Now there is a difference between the 6th extinction, 6th mass extinction and the 5 mass extinctions. Those have happened before. Okay, what is the difference? The speciality of 6th episode of mass extinction is that it is 100 to 1000 times faster than the first 5 mass extinction. Okay, they are the 6th episode that we are going through now. They are 100 to 1000 times faster than the previously happened 5 episodes of mass extinction. Okay, why? Because now today's you all are aware of today's problem. There is too much of population, there is too much of pollution, there are too many anthropogenic activities, due to which
the mass extinction process is 100 to 1000 times faster than the previous 5 mass extinction. Then the next difference is the next feature is that the 5 episodes of mass extinction that happened, 5 episodes of mass extinction are pre-human period. Okay, that means the first 5 episodes of mass extinction that has happened, those have happened, they have happened in the pre-human period. During that time there was no human existence. Okay, in all the 5 episodes of mass extinction, human beings were not present, okay, as a part of the community. However, the 6th episode of mass extinction is happening only because of human beings interference. It is not happening because of human beings interference. It is happening at a faster rate because we are present in this particular community. Okay, in the first 5 mass episodes of mass extinction, it took several thousands of years to happen because there was no human activity at that particular time. However, the 6th episode of mass extinction is happening faster, okay, 100 to 1000 times faster than the previous 5 mass extinction, because all the 5 episodes happened in pre-human period. Okay, now what is happening is anthropogenic. The reason for present mass extinction is the fast rate of mass extinction is anthropogenic activity. Anthropogenic activity means man-made. Okay, there is too much of human interference. Human is destroying the nature. Okay, he is adding on to the faster rate of mass extinction. Okay, so this is all about the general introduction for how biodiversity is getting spoiled, how extinction is happening. Next, let's talk about the actual reasons or causes for the loss of biodiversity. What are the reasons or the causes of loss of biodiversity? There are 4 reasons for the loss of biodiversity. The first one is habitat loss and fragmentation. Okay, habitat loss and fragmentation. The second reason is over exploitation. The third reason is alien species invasion. The fourth one being co-extinction. Okay, the 4 reasons for the loss of biodiversity or the causes of loss of biodiversity are habitat loss and fragmentation, overexploitation, alien species invasion and co-extinction. Let us study all these one by one. First, let's discuss about habitat loss and fragmentation. Habitat. What is a habitat? The place where a particular organism is living is known as its habitat. When that habitat is being lost, biodiversity will also be lost. Okay, and fragmentation. A larger area will be made into smaller pieces or smaller fragments. That is known as fragmentation. Imagine there is a large forest. You break these forests into small patches or small land area and convert this forest into your agriculture field, or you take this particular land for your own activity, different activity, for construction of house, for construction of industry. That forms fragmentation. A large area is broken down into smaller areas. So the biodiversity which is present in that particular area will be completely lost. Okay. why this habitat loss is happening? Because of human activity. Okay, the main reason for habitat loss and fragmentation is human activity. Humans are the only organisms who will interfere with the living of another organisms. Okay, humans are the only organism who are destroying the nature. Okay, so that actually leads to the loss of habitat or the living place for any particular organism. When the habitat loss happens, the productivity, the species will become affected, the productivity also is reduced. Okay, now initially if we take an example of tropical rainforest, okay, tropical rainforest, the rainforest which is present in the tropical region of our globe, okay, usually it occupied 14% of our land area. Now it occupies only 6% of the land area. That means 14% has been reduced to 6%. Okay, now tropical rainforest which actually occupied 14% of our land area, now it is occupying only 6% of the land area. The reason is human activities. Okay, humans have started to interfere with the tropical rainforest. They have started to use the forest area for their own activity. So the land area of the forest has been reduced to 6%. You can imagine the difference. Okay, the number looks very small, but the productivity, the oxygen release, if we talk about the rainfall, then it is a major contribution towards the loss of biodiversity. Okay, then let's talk about Amazon rainforest. Amazon rainforest is generally referred as lungs of the earth. Okay, Amazon rainforest is generally referred as lung of the earth. What is the function of lung? Respiration, breathing. Okay, now why Amazon rainforest is considered as lung of earth? Because out of the the total amount of oxygen released from the plants, 20% of oxygen is contributed or it is released by Amazon rainforest. Okay, out of the total oxygen released by the plants throughout our earth, 20% of oxygen is released from Amazon rainforest. Okay, so you can imagine the number of plants or the plant community or the producers present in Amazon rainforest. Okay, now people, what they are doing is Amazon rainforest, they are making, it's a big forest, they are doing fragmentation. That means if this is a larger area of Amazon rainforest, they are taking a small pieces of Amazon rainforest, okay, in whichever they want, and they are growing soya, okay, soya beans. They are using the small fragments or pieces of Amazon rainforest for growing soya. Also, they are growing grasses. They are converting the Amazon rainforest into grasslands. Okay, why? In order to grow the cattle. Okay, in order to grow cattle. Your cow, ox, bull, everything, comes under cattle. Okay, so the whole Amazon rainforest, it is present in South America. It is known as tropical Amazon rainforest because it is present in the tropical region of our globe. It is present in South America. Okay, 20% of the oxygen is given by Amazon rainforest. Now they are facing this fragmentation problem. The small areas of the Amazon rainforest is being utilized by the native people for growing soya and also for growing grasses in order to feed the cattle. Okay, now this is also causing the loss of biodiversity. This is known as habitat loss. When you are converting the whole rainforest into the grasslands and also your crop lands or the agricultural lands, then the forest is being disturbed, the species present in the forest is being disturbed. Ultimately, it leads to the reduction in the productivity. Okay, now this is again a problem. And fragmentation, I have told you, a larger area is converted into small pieces. Okay, ultimately that also leads to loss of biodiversity. This is the first cause for the loss of biodiversity. Let's move on to the next reason, which is over exploitation. Over exploitation means using more and more than your required level. That is known as when need turns into greed. Okay, when need is your necessity, you need it for your living, whereas greed is what you need more than the required amount. If you wish for something more than your required level or the necessity level, that is known as greed. Okay, so need is fine, whereas greed is very bad. Okay, need is just to fulfill your necessity. Okay, and greed is to is to earn money or to exploit the nature more and more. Okay, so this is known as over exploitation. For example, if you are catching fish from the from a pond or a river for your livelihood, for you to eat and feed your family, that becomes your need. Okay, if you are catching fish from a pond or a river just to feed your family and for you to consume it as a food, that is need. Whereas if you start catching fish from that particular river or pond in a more and more amount, and if you start selling and if you want to make money out of it, that becomes greed. This behavior of human beings have led to over exploitation, using more and more in a more and more amount. Okay, this is with reference to the nature. Nature is being used or overutilized by human beings. Okay, so that's over exploitation. There were different species of organisms. There were different species who became extinct because of this over exploitation. Example: Steller's sea cow and passenger pigeon. The native people who were living in this particular area, what happened was they started hunting this Steller sea cow and passenger pigeon in more and more amount, that these species became extinct. Okay, now another example is harvesting fish, especially oceanic fish. If you start, nowadays we know fishery is one of the fisheries are it's one of the major source of income for many people. What they do is they go to ocean, they catch fish. Okay, if we catch fish in such rate or in term, in other words, if we start catching fish in such high rate, then one day the whole fish community is going to be lost from the ocean. Okay, it's becoming our greed. People want to earn money. That is the reason they are harvesting fish from the ocean in more and more amount. Okay, which is going to ultimately lead to the extinction of all the fish species present in the ocean. So that's all about over exploitation. If we use anything more than the required level, that is known as over exploitation. Okay, the next is alien species invasion. Okay, alien species invasion means if there is a particular habitat, there are certain species living already in this particular habitat, they are known as native species. Okay, the organisms which are living in this particular area from a very long time, they are known as native species, or they are also known as indigenous species. Indigenous species. Okay, I hope this is clear to you. We have a geographical area. There are certain species already living in this particular geographical area from a very long time. These species are known as indigenous species or native species. Okay, whereas to this particular geographical area, if any species are coming from a neighboring geographical area or a neighboring habitat, such species are known as alien species. Okay, if any new species are coming from a new area into this particular geographical area, such species are known as alien species. Alien species are always a threat to the indigenous species. Okay, we cannot say always, but yes, sometimes alien species are, they will become a threat or a danger to the indigenous species who have already occupied this particular geographical area. Sometimes alien species might come. They will live in close association with indigenous species. They will live happily by sharing the population interaction, maybe such as mutualism. However, sometimes these alien species, when they come to this particular area, they will destroy this native species and they will dominate in this particular area. Okay, these species will come and they will dominate in this particular geographical area. Then that is known as alien species invasion. Okay, the alien species entrance without the permission of the indigenous species or the native species. Okay, so this is known as alien species invasion. We will have to consider few examples for alien species invasion. Let's look into certain examples for alien species invasion. Okay, there was a lake known as Lake Victoria. It was present in Africa. Okay, in this particular Lake Victoria, there were 200 species of cichlid fish. Okay, there were 200 species of cichlid fish in this particular Lake Victoria. Okay, there was, from another particular geographical area or a pond or a lake, Nile perch. Okay, this is again another fish. Okay, it's a very large fish, whereas cichlid fish are the smaller varieties of fishes. To this particular Lake Victoria, Nile perch was introduced. Nile perch means it is a very larger fish. Okay, when the Nile perch was introduced or added to this particular Lake Victoria, all these 200 species of cichlid fish became extinct. Okay, so here cichlid fish are the indigenous species. They are the native species. They belong to this particular lake. However, this was an alien species. When this invaded this Lake Victoria, these 200 species of cichlid fish became extinct. Okay, so this is an example of alien species invasion. If we look into another example, you might be knowing about plants like Parthenium, also known as carrot grass, lantana, water hyacinth, okay, these three organisms, they are plants, they will be seen in the land, this will be seen in the water. They are generally referred as alien species because when they start growing in a particular geographical area, all the indigenous species who are present in that particular area will become extinct. They will overgrow and they will suppress the growth of the native species. Okay, so that's the alien species invasion. Then we will have to look into another example. Clarias garipinus. This is a type of a catfish. Okay. This is a type of catfish, Clarias garipinus. This fish was used for aquaculture, for growing in a water body. Okay. They selected a particular water body. They started growing this Clarias garipinus in a particular water body. What happened was, when this catfish started growing in that particular water body, all the native catfish that were present in that particular water body, they became extinct. Okay, because this was an alien species who actually invaded that particular water body and they actually destroyed or harmed the community of the catfish that were actually the indigenous species or native species. Okay, this is known as alien species invasion. A new species coming and harming the existing species. Okay, so that's all about alien species invasion. Then we will talk about co-extinction. Co-extinction means if an organism is being extinct, then another organism which is dependent on this particular organism will also become extinct. Okay, so that is known as co-extinction. There is a close relationship between a plant and a pollinator. Okay, we have studied about a wasp who will actually come and pollinate a fig tree. Imagine this particular wasp becomes extinct. Along with the wasp, the fig tree will also become extinct because wasp is the only organism who will bring pollen grains from another fig plant to this particular fig plant or a fig tree. Okay, wasp is a pollinator who will bring pollen grains from any other particular fig tree, okay, to this another from one particular fig tree to another fig tree. So they act as the pollinators. Imagine if this pollinator becomes extinct, then ultimately the fig tree will also become extinct. There is a saying that when honeybees they disappear from this particular earth, the human community will also become extinct. We will also be lost. The reason being, the honeybees are the major pollinators that are present on earth. Okay, they actually carry the pollen grains from a variety of plants to the similar plants. Okay, now when the honeybees become extinct, if the honeybees disappear from the earth, we will also disappear, because when the honeybees are lost, there are no successful pollination happening in plants. When plants become extinct, ultimately human beings will become extinct. So this is the actual concept behind that saying. Okay, now here when the plant becomes extinct, the pollinator will become extinct. If the pollinator is extincted, then ultimately that particular plant will become extinct. The same thing will happen with a prey and a predator. Okay, prey is a deer, predator is a tiger. If the tiger species becomes extinct, it will not cause any particular harm to the deer. Ultimately, we will talk about it. When the deer community becomes extinct, the tiger community will also become extinct. When the tiger community becomes extinct, the deer community will also become extinct. How? When the tiger community is is lost or it disappears, then the deer community will increase, okay, up to a certain level. However, after that, if the deer community is more, there will be tough competition for the resource, that is for the grass. Ultimately, after the result of competition is the negative result, right? It is always negative. If all the deer starts competing for the grass community, then ultimately the deer will also start dying. Okay, so there is always a relationship. If we talk about the parasite and the host, if any disease causing organism is dependent on a host, for example, Anopheles mosquito is dependent on two hosts, that it is dependent on human body. Plasmodium, which is a malarial parasite, depends on Anopheles mosquito as well as human beings who will act as hosts. If that particular host is lost, the parasite will also be lost. If the parasite becomes lost, then it is a kind of addition or a benefit to the host community. Okay, so this is always a interlink. If one particular organism is lost, the other will also become, if one organism becomes extinct, then the other organism will also become extinct. This particular extinction is known as co-extinction. Co means together. One is becoming extinct, together that particular organism, the other organism will also become extinct. So that is known as co-extinction. Okay, so these are the 4 causes for the loss of biodiversity.